Hello, Hive Nation, and welcome back to the Hive Nation Podcast. Each week, we bring you leaders in leadership, mentorship, and personal and professional development. Each week, we have a member of the Hive Nation join us to share their journey to help you connect, engage, grow, evolve. Now, here's JB to introduce today's guest.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Morning, everybody. For everybody who's watching us today on YouTube, you'll notice that we have a bit of a change in our studio today. Thanks to Garrin Bulani. He's our guest today with MicroStudio. But this is a major upgrade from our iPhone 14 setup that we've usually had. So what Garrin has designed here is a MicroStudio basically kit that anybody can really do. He's made a career out of it now, but we're going to be talking about that here today. And Garrin, thanks for being on the Hive Nation podcast.
Of course, gentlemen. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and demonstrate the power of MicroStudio. Welcome to the professional portable podcasting kit.
Yes, I love it. This is so very cool. Obviously, from what we're used to, and then Garrin comes in here and sets this up in about 15 minutes. I'm sure it's going to make me look way better. I guarantee that, because this is a hell of a setup. But anyway, why don't we get into a little bit of your background, and why don't we kind of make aware of our listeners as to what you can offer them as well at the same time. But why don't we start with where you got started? I know Garrin's from Regina, Saskatchewan,
yes.
Originally. He has family or relatives up in this neck of the woods as well. But why don't we just start with you just tell us a bit of your background, how you got into wanting to be a MicroStudio guy, and how to maybe some tips and tricks as to people who are listening that maybe they can do on their, without having a whole setup like this. Maybe just how you could help them, and or where you can actually incorporate a whole kit like this. Definitely. If that's what they're looking for.
Definitely. So I appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, my mission, I have sales for a background. My mission was to help people start showing up better on video. 3 years ago, just like everywhere, we had to start selling on video. A lot of outside sales executives had to start performing this, and it took me about a month to realize that this is going to be a big issue, just as far as professionalism, showing up on camera properly, right? This is exactly why when we go to boardrooms and everything like that, we'd wear a shirt and tie, right? Presentability, have respect, and just to demand the room attention. And this is what I wanted to bring to Zoom meetings and virtual meetings, because we have the technological aspect of what you're looking at right now. There's a strategy behind video and implementing that on a day-to-day basis to have video start selling for you. Video is the most dynamic way to create content. And the last 3 years, I've dove myself into this world, teaching myself about the dynamics. So you talk about the techniques of all of this. So when you're doing professional live streaming, there's 3 pillars to virtual professionalism. We talked about this earlier. So you have good lighting, good visual, and good audio. And if you can master all 3 of these, it's just like these lights you see. It's a tripod. You stand strong in the virtual room. And that's been my whole mission over the last 3 years. However, me diving into this world, I realized there's definitely a technique. There's a skill to be able to learn all of this stuff. So now I'm on a mission right now to help companies and individuals implement this on a day-to-day basis. Technology scares people. Right. This is typically why a lot of people just show up on the iPhone and they use the Blue Yeti microphone, just because simplicity, right? And I completely understand that. However, simplicity comes with a decrease in quality. So my mission was, how can I bring high quality content at a rapid rate? MicroStudio is a solution. So for individuals such as yourself, or anybody who wants to start implementing podcasting to create content now, you simply call it MicroStudio. Hey, we want to run a podcast. We have one of our brand representatives show up, just like what you've seen today. We set everything up in 15 minutes. We run a podcast for 20 minutes. We take all of this content, we extract it, we edit it, and then we provide a deliverable for the organization so they can start distributing it to their social media platforms.
Very cool. And so what does a typical setup like this cost somebody?
Yeah, it can range. It really depends on the cameras and lightings that you get and everything like that. Our starter kits with my education is about $3,500 right now. The education is the aspect of it.
Sure.
Over the last couple of years, I set people up with equipment. They went and bought their own equipment, and they didn't get the right cable. They don't know how to use the camera, so they use it for a week and then they put it away and don't use it. It's the education that's really, really important, the support that comes with it, and the accountability, right? I could give you all of this equipment right now, if you don't know what to do with it, you're not going to use it. And it's a waste of money, right?
Yep.
And I found that over the last couple of years. So my goal right now is to provide people with the technology aspect of it, but the education is what's more important. So you can spend hundreds of $1,000s on technology. You can spend hundreds of dollars on technology. It's really what you want. Over the last 3 years, what I've done, because I funded this all myself, I found the most cost-effective ways to produce the highest quality content without actually having to break the bank.
So there's many guys like myself who would rather just have open one box, and you would have everything in there that's there, including, like you said, cables.
Yep.
Because that would be one of those things where you'd go and you'd buy all the stuff, you'd go set it up, and you'd be like, now what the hell am I supposed to do with all this? So like, I forgot to buy the freaking cables for it.
Yes.
And then as it turns out, the cables you go and look for are more money than the actual product that you actually bought. You're like, well, now I look like a real idiot,
Yep.
right? So for myself, and I know there's many other guys out there, they would just rather open the box. It would everything be laid out there for you, Then they bring you in, do your education portion of it.
Yep.
This is the setup. This is what you're looking for. It doesn't have to be perfect every time, obviously,
Never.
but let's try and get as good as we can with the surroundings that we can, and make your podcast or your live stream or whatever you want to do the best. And like you mentioned it earlier, that's the way of the world now, right?
Definitely.
Everybody's video and live streaming and events are the way of the world. So why wouldn't we try and make it better? Obviously, you kind of work with what you have to begin with, but as it gets more involved, like I could see exactly where you would come in and change the game, I guess.
Yeah, and this is a new world, gentlemen, right? Like this is video hasn't been emphasized more than within the last 3 years, right? So,
Right.
And this is what I started creating videos on my iPhone. That's how I started on LinkedIn. I started posting as a sales executive, but I just knew right away that there's a way to constantly improve. Somebody had to be a trailblazer, and I wanted to be that individual. So now, what you said is, I want MicroStudio to be, you show up at Best Buy, you grab the bag, you have all the equipment then and there, and then I have digital trainings that provided with that. Because this is what's crazy about videos. We have this podcast, it's there forever now. It's on your YouTube forever. All right, so you want to talk about branding and selling without actually having to sell. You have this content, and you have an amazing ability to repurpose content and start having sales executives to sell when you have other things to do, right? There's many times where I answer the same questions over and over and over again, right? As far as education, right?
Yeah.
So what do? I create videos. Now, if I get that same question, I send them the video. They get all the training and everything.
Just to make some people maybe at ease a little bit.
Sure.
Why don't you tell us your background, how you decided to get into this, and like how I'm sure it's not real easy, but I'm sure it's not real complex as well, right?
No, it's not as difficult as people think. That's the thing, is a lot of people look at this camera and then the equipment, they get very intimidated. That's what I found. Right?
Exactly.
Especially being in front of a camera can be very intimidating. And that's what I want MicroStudio to be, is a support database where they can go to. They have representatives that could be able to help everybody to go through all of this. If you want to learn proper lighting technology, if you want to learn proper camera placing and all of this stuff, this is all education aspects that I want to start building with MicroStudio. And we posted this on YouTube now. We have your virtual event checklist. So this is for anybody who wants to just start showing up better on Zoom meetings. They can grab all of the equipment that they have, and they can start implementing where to place lights, where to place the camera, like what we talked about with the audio, have your microphone this far away from your mouth. These little things, you can go on YouTube. It's free. It's free education. And you go to my YouTube page, you can get all of that right now, kind of thing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a note to our listeners, though, at the same time, is that, it may look complex, but at the end of the day, like Garrin literally just opened up his box and laid the stuff out, plugged the cables in, and he put some lights up and stuff in here, and
it's all self-taught, right? Like I'm a sales representative. I'm not a videographer. I'm not a camera person, right? It was just me, step by step, making videos like, the lighting's bad on this, or the shutter speed.
So you didn't go to Hollywood, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm trying to go to Hollywood. So Hollywood, if you're listening,
Hollywood, shout out.
Get
here.
myself a ticket, kind of thing, right? But
Steven Spielberg is a listener, I think, right? He's one of our.
But I also think that's kind of the benefit of MicroStudio, is someone like myself not being a videographer, but just having a passion for it and teaching myself all of this. It doesn't, I taught myself all this stuff. It took me over 3 years just to kind of fine tune it to where now is you just incorporate into the academy and everything's all there for you. So you don't have to take as long as that I need to right now. So my vision of MicroStudio is genuinely there will be a representative in the marketing department. I had a discussion about this last week where I genuinely feel you need to can the word or the job title of junior marketer and replace it with content creator. And have a designated content creator who knows how to do all of this stuff, knows how to set all of this stuff up, and then individuals or brand ambassadors of that company shows up, takes care of it. It's going to be a whole division for a company, I genuinely feel, within the next couple of years.
Very cool. I think I can agree with you on that. There's a lot more people can incorporate within their videos and their how they've. If you look at any local videos, especially like some of them are good, but some of them look like they've used an iPhone 4 to really.
And technology moves fast, right? We need to keep in mind and stuff. And the iPhone is constantly moving and improving. And this is why on these cameras we emphasize having a better lens, because it's not the body of the camera that creates the picture; it's the actual lens of the picture, right? Yeah. So for those who are wanting to save money on actually getting these cameras, you don't have to go and spend $3,000 on a Sony camera, right? You can get a lower mid-level entry camera and then upgrade more onto the lens. It's going to give you a crispy picture, and then you're not going to outdate yourself, right? We're recording this on 4K right now.
Yeah.
And this is why I talk about getting the MicroStudio and the proper equipment, because you're right. You have an iPhone 4 and you're going to use that, and then you're going to look back on that in 2 years. You're not going to want to use it because it doesn't really emphasize and show how you truly look as far as professionalism.
And I think if you once it's broadcast out there and everybody sees like the value or like the how much better it is versus what it was.
Yes.
I think there's definitely value in that. Like we talked about the mics, as a matter of fact, and before the conversation. You and I had about mics. I was like zero, like clueless about how good a mic can actually sound. And then so Garrin did a live demonstration on a mic. This one, as a matter of fact, versus like just doing a pickup off of a Zoom, a Mac mic, and it's like. Really?
Yep.
Like I might as well have used a cup with a string and yelled across the room. Definitely. Because that's what it sounded like, the difference, right? Like I'm not sure how much these mics go for, like and stuff like this, but I'm sure there's different qualities of mics as well that you'd be able to talk to somebody about, Garrin. But the just to have a gentleman like yourself who has put his time into creating a system that is easy for I'll call it Joe Blow to use. I think it's a fantastic idea.
It's cool. And the thing is, the microphones you guys are listening to right now, these are SM7Bs. So Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on this microphones that you guys are using right now, right?
Wow.
And this is what MicroStudio is I'm not your Amazon Basic. I'm a high quality company. We provide organizations with the highest quality equipment, so they're getting the premium quality, right? There's a lot of companies out there that can cheap out and they can do the cheaper equipment, but you get what you pay for. And the longevity of this equipment, right? Like when did Michael Jackson record Thriller? It was a while ago, right? And
80 something.
Joe Rogan uses those microphones.
Sweet.
Right? Like this is a microphone that you invest in, and it's going to pay dividends and resale value. It's like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Yeah. You get these Blue Yetis and stuff like that, they're obsolete in a year. You get high quality microphones. This is an MV7 that we're using right now. This is a very cost effective one compared to these SM7Bs. But again, top of line microphone, and it's been top of line microphone for the last few years now, and I still don't see anybody outbeating them.
Well, I want you to come back so that I can show you my moonwalk. Yeah. But we'll do that. We'll do that on another one.
Another time.
So just tell the people who are listening or viewing this that maybe some differences that you would suggest that some people would try maybe in their setup that they have right now that they could do at home even.
Sure. Number one is going to say get your laptop off of the desk. Put it on an actual box or making it eye level with you. What's frustrating, even especially with Zoom meetings and stuff, I have to listen to a presentation where the camera's trajectoring upwards, right? And I have to look up their nose. But if you think subliminally with these videos, it casts almost like I'm looking down on you. If you have a camera pointing up and I'm looking at you, it looks like I'm looking down on you. So there's a sense of intimidation with it. So for those who are just starting out, grab a random Amazon box, put your laptop on that box, and then you're going to instantly upgrade your quality, and you haven't even spent any money. 3-point lighting system. I don't care what lights you use, if it's lamps or anything like that, 3-point lighting system would be good. So you have a key light, which is what you kind of see, the side of the face that you're most confident with. You want to have a key light on. Then you want to have a fill light to fill any dark shadows so you don't get any rings under your eyes, and then a backlight to typically give you depth throughout the room so you're not looking so squished or anything like that. So those are some key points. We talked about lighting temperatures, so having a higher temperature of light, so 5600 Kelvin, so a white light versus like a warmer light is very, very important. Those are probably some quick tips that I'd highly recommend for people. That's a very cost-effective way to instantly upgrade your video presence.
Awesome. I want to just dive into that a little bit more too. You talk about the Power 3. It's something Jason and I talk about lots. So you have your lighting, your audio, and your visual. Of the three, if somebody were starting out and just trying to, what is step one? What's the most important?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always been a video guy, so I used to be the video person. But in reality, it's just the lighting. If you can understand the effects of lighting, can drastically increase the quality of your video. Again, technology moves fast. So as these newer laptops come out, there's going to be better cameras. These new iPhones that come out, it's going to be a lot better too. However, the lighting, if you butcher your lighting, it can make a camera not look that good. So lighting is very, very imperative, and there's so many tutorials and demos on YouTube you can find about lighting. We actually have a section about that in your virtual event checklist that talks about lighting and proper placements of lighting there too. So definitely lighting is the number one key for your better picture.
Great. And I think that's something that's so intimidating about all this. I mean, at the start, JB was talking about it. You came into our office. You've never been in here before. Well, that's not true. You were in here for like 2 seconds beforehand.
Just to see the layout.
And you set your cameras up, got the lighting down pat. So for people that want to film in their office, that have some message that they want to convey to whoever their audience is, it's not that hard. Doesn't matter what their office looks like. MicroStudio can rig it up and
that was the thing. We just did with our representative with Micro. You give us a call. We say, hey, we want to do a podcast. We'll have a brand representative. They'll come to the location you want to do the tutorial, do exactly what we did, look around just to see kind of the layouts. Can we put cameras here and stuff like that? And then we take that back to our team. And that's what we want. There's business owners who don't have time to learn all of this stuff. I would love to teach companies and organizations, a representative in that organization to do this. However, there's smaller organizations, small business owners who don't have that kind of budget, right? But they have a budget to be able to hire someone and a contractor to come in and do this. So wherever your location is, my goal is in the world where you call it MicroStudio. There'll be a brand representative in that local area. We'll do the exact same process that they have. And just like when I had you guys over at my studio, we send all the content there. We have an editing team that posts everything out. When we finish today, I'm going to take all of this content, and you guys will have some creatives by the end of the day. That's how fast we are at MicroStudio.
Well, very cool. So basically, what you're saying is you don't have to have a special studio in order for MicroStudios to work. You came into our office here. You turned our office into a quote-unquote MicroStudio.
MicroStudio, baby. Oh, yeah.
And, just by the kit that you had, and, like, it looks amazing.
Badass, eh? And you guys are going to look dope. I guarantee this is going to be the most high viewed on your guys' podcast, and it's not because of me, right? And it's because it's just visually appealing for the viewer. You talk about credibility. You want to talk about scroll stoppers? We're flooded with content. Flooded. If you see something that's choppy or grainy and stuff, it's just instant credibility. You're scrolling by. If you see something where you actually stand out and there's quality, and then you actually have a message on top of that, you're going to capture a lot of viewers, and you're going to increase the viewership time immensely. So I'm excited to produce this podcast, post it for you both, and then just watch, right? This is a longevity game. Let's see where this goes in a year, 2 years. It's not going anywhere, right? So it's really exciting.
On that note, we're almost running out of time here, but on the content piece, that's a own podcast in its own.
Yeah, we can do another one. Yep.
If you were to give somebody a quick reel tip, because reels is what everybody's doing.
Yes.
Opposed to just putting a flat video with nothing. Like what's one or two changes they can make to their reel that will make people stop scrolling?
Great question. So always, if you're using a mirrorless camera like what we see right now, always film vertical. If you have your iPhone and stuff, film vertical opposed to horizontal. You're going to get a better pixelation. You're going to get a better viewer, because we talk about pixelations. We have 1080 by 1920, which is the horizontal. Then we have 1920 by 1080, which is the vertical. So pixelation is just a better picture. So that's one thing. But if you're doing content creation, you need to have a very strong hook. And a hook is like, here are 3 tips on what sales consultants don't do. And then you have the body of the message, something that they can leave. If they watch that 30-second video, would they be willing to pay $1 for that information or that entertainment, right? You think about street performers and stuff. Yeah. Is your content good enough where if they watch that, like, man, I learned something, or I felt something, so I'm going to give you $1. That's very, very imperative with the description. And then finally, a call to action. After they watch that video, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to follow for more? Do you want them to comment? Do you want them to like and subscribe? Do you want them to sign up for your newsletter? Having an imperative actual hook description and call to action is what you need to have in every single reel. And if you can do that, and if you can do it good enough, you're set.
Very cool.
Awesome.
You see a lot of them, like I don't want to say like the Kardashians and stuff like that, but like there's a lot of those influencers that companies will try and find.
Sure.
Do you need an influencer then? Or can you be your own influencer?
That's what's crazy about building a professional brand. Now the influential world is changing dramatically. They don't look at followers anymore as much as they used to because the metrics just aren't there anymore. I have less than 500 followers on my Instagram, and I have brand deals with companies across the world, and it's because of the quality that I produce and all of that stuff. So building a professional brand is going to pay dividends as far as passive income for individuals. Yes, if you want to be, and this is what I've been doing with MicroStudio. I've been building MicroStudio up, but I've also been building up Garrin Bulani as a user-generated content creator. And there's money out there. And if you can build a brand and if you can produce high-quality content like that, there's a lot of money for individuals out there to make it a full-time role. It's a very long journey, though. Content creation and influential creation is a very, very long journey, and a lot of people, they quit faster than they should, right? So it's a long game, but it will pay dividends. So there's still definitely a market for it, but it is shifting into where a lot of companies want to find creators that can influence people to go into stores.
Love that.
Rather than just saying, hey, swipe up and get 10% off. It's like, hey, I'm on Broadway right now. We're going to go into this store because there's this product. This is where you go into the store. Go get it right now. That's what companies want right now. So if you have the ability to persuade people through video to be able to encourage them to actually go into an outlet store, extremely powerful moving forward.
That's on bricks and mortar building, but what about online?
Online, there's still the option for that kind of thing. And that's what's cool about video is I create a bunch of videos and we can run ads for them, right? But it's there. It's longevity. So I do have promo codes and I do have longevity, but you're not going to get rich off of that right away, especially if you don't have a following, right? A lot of people get intimidated because they don't have a following and they don't think they can actually make an impact. So yes, there's promo codes and there's passive income that way that can happen. But again, everybody's doing that. So you want to differentiate yourself in the content creation world. So there's definitely room for that, and even growth for companies and stuff like that. Being able to generate warm leads, right? A lot of warm leads come for that, and that's where the real money is, opposed to just like swiping up to get 10% off on whatever.
So where would our listeners find you then? How would they get hold of you?
A few ways. You can go to microstudio.ca. If you want to give us a call, 306-700-5414. It's a good call. I content creator for LinkedIn and YouTube. So Garrin Bulani, Garrin Bulani. If you want to look at my professional page, it's just garrinbulani.com. But ideally, give us a call, give us a text on LinkedIn, social, MicroStudio, and Garrin Bulani is where you're going to find us.
Very, very cool.
Fantastic. Garrin, this is awesome.
This is fun. It was quick, right? It goes very fast. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun. The setup is unreal. Hive Nation, if you're looking for a solution that's simple, fast, and effective, Garrin's your man. MicroStudio is the place.
And stay tuned, Hive Nation. We are going to be using Garrin's setup here in the upcoming weeks again. So stay tuned.
This is another thing too, is like for individuals, I want to have MicroStudio as a rental kit. You don't want to buy all of this equipment and stuff, no problem.
There we go.
Give us a call. We can have a rental kit. We can show up for you. We can have a remote producer on site for you to do everything for you, or you can learn to do it all yourself. So I appreciate the shout out, and I'm looking forward to having you guys out there in the Stampede and promoting the brand.
Yeah, I think this is going to be awesome. I think there's going to be a real fit for MicroStudio, not just in Saskatoon. I think that this is probably the nice thing about it is that you can ship all over the world.
Yeah, we're going global on this. Exactly. Small boys from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, we're going global. I will be in Hollywood one day. We'll see.
Let's not think of Saskatoon. Let's think outside the box here a little bit, and let's go bigger than that. But Hive Nation, you just get in touch with us or Garrin directly, and we'll get you in touch with him. But Garrin's a friend of the Hive, and it's great to have somebody like Garrin, in the Hive with us, because how else would you get? How else would we make Greg's mustache look better?
There you go, man. When it's time to go, baby, just grab your MicroStudio. That's all you got to do, man. There you go.
Garrin, this has been awesome. Till next time, Hive Nation, we're out.